Hello, everyone. This is Tammy with Next Level Me, and I'm here with another segment of the Next Level Me Spotlight interviews. I am here today with Gary Newlen, who is the owner of Headshots for Professionals, and he is going to share with us a little bit of his reinvention story today. I met Gary, a couple months ago whenever I was looking for a photographer, and his name popped to the top of the list. And once I heard his story about how he had been 45 years in a successful civil engineering career and decided to retire and start this business, I knew his reinvention story was one that we had to share. So, welcome, Gary. It's so great to have you today.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm excited to be here.
So, you shared a little bit of your story with me, but I would love for others to hear the details. Can you help us understand what drove your decision to make a major change basically after retiring to something totally different from what you had done before?
Sure, I'll try to capsulize as best I can. I was a civil engineer for, like Tammy said, 45 years, and I had planned to retire in my early 70s. Just it was out there in my mind. I didn't have an exact date at the time, but probably about when I was mid 60s, I started thinking about when I want to retire and what do I want to really do after I retire. Do I just want to lounge around? Do I want to travel? Do I want to just, do, do whatever I wanted to do? Or did I want to be engaged with something? And I found that I really wanted, I had been a photographer for about longer than being a civil engineer, about 50 years. But as a hobby, I used it as a hobby and really enjoyed it. I tried different aspects of it. I tried weddings, family portraiture, landscapes. I got into landscapes around the world and have an exhibition up in Leesburg right now. But I stumbled across a guy um, who was on a podcast. He was on a podcast from Scott Kelby, who's a well recognized around the world top photographer. And the guy that was on the podcast was Peter Hurley, and he's regarded as the world's best headshot photographer. But he kind of captured my attention, and I started playing with this in my mind. I had tried all these other venues, and I had made a little bit of money, not very much to support me. And I really wasn't looking for something to support me as much as I was something that I enjoyed. And if people would pay me for it, that would be great. So I did some family portraiture, weddings, landscape, and I did get some payments for those, but not a whole lot. So um, fast forwarding, I'm trying to learn. I'm thinking about all this, and I voiced it to my wife, and she said, I kept telling her about it night after night, or I said, I'm thinking about going into headshots. And studio photography had always kind of scared me. I didn't know anything about it. Um, I knew a lot about ambient light, sunlight, capturing people outdoors. However, this type kind of scared me a little bit. So I kept talking about maybe going into headshots, and I would learn it. It didn't scare me enough to not make me want to do it. It was more of a challenge. So, but I knew I needed help. And so I would voice this to my wife. And sooner or later, she just said, I think she was tired of hearing me talk about it. And she said, either get in or get out. And as I said, I love this woman. And she tells me she knows me better than anybody, which brings me to a point that if people are looking to get into something, and you have a confidant, you have a partner, you have your spouse, that would probably be the first place to kind of start to bounce things off of. But I found that she didn't know much about photography, so I needed more of a technical person. So I signed up for this. Peter Hurley has a worldwide network of photographers, and I signed up and started learning. It's a very nurturing um, type of environment. You can ask any question you want, whether it's business, marketing, technical aspects, whatever. Um, and I know I'm going on and on, but this is part of what I'm trying to get to. I needed I needed some help. I needed somebody that knew what they were doing. First of all, to give me the confidence that yeah, I might be able to do this. That was through my wife, and she was very supportive of it. So the other was I needed help with technical aspects. I needed help with marketing and business aspects, and I needed help from people that were in the business or could ask me the tough questions or to kind of pick my brain. And through some of these podcasts that I would watch from Peter Hurley, um, a lot of I learned a lot. He has podcasts going almost every day, contests, and it challenges you to continue to get better with each shoot that you do. So anyway, I signed up with him and stuck with him through thick and thin, and it was tough at times. And I can talk about the tough times maybe in a little bit, but 6.5 years later, which I thought it would only take 6 months, but I was trying to get to what he calls an associate level, and those are this top 1% in the world of headshot photographers that he can endorse and actually refer work to that are consistent with his way of doing things. So I achieved that after 6 years, 6.5 years. So now I'm an associate of his, and that in itself was a goal that I had to try to bring kind of confirmation that I can do this. I could um, I was good enough to be accepted and could really make this viable. And I was endorsed by the best in the world. So I'll probably stop there and let you ask a few more of your questions if you want. I can elaborate on anything there. Thanks for bearing with me.
No, that's awesome, Gary. That's exactly what we were looking for. And you touched on a couple of things there that I want to drill into a little bit more, but one I want to highlight. Obviously, you leveraged people around you and the resources that were available that had the expertise that you needed in order to help you on that path. And having that community of people or that group of people to provide that guidance and that support was a critical part of what empowered you to get to where you are today, which is awesome. That's
And
exactly what we were
yep,
trying to promote in terms of next level me. So great story,
yep. It
great
still
part.
is. It still is a
Yeah,
part of what I
yeah.
do. You have to sign in and continue to improve. And that's where you would come in for, if I had known you back then, I may have kind of latched on, and you're somebody that can, I think, determine where people, what people's strengths and weaknesses are. And that's critical in this. You need to know where both of them are, what you can do well and what you can't do well, and what you need help in, what you need to learn. And I think you would be somebody that be very helpful for different people, no matter what genre they're in or what they're trying to do. It's important to have that support and really somebody that can ask the question, okay, what do I do next? I have no idea what I'm doing, and I had no idea how to market, and no idea how to do business. I knew some of the technical aspects, and I thought I was pretty good. But I learned out how lacking I was once I got into the environment that was several levels above where I was shooting at the time. But and then the mindset of trying to, help people. I wanted to help people look their best, and that's what motivates me more than the money does. I like it when people come in, we get to hear their story. I got to hear your story. Um, it's very interesting for me to meet people and then, again, help them promote the best that they can be on the day they walk through my studio.
Yeah, that's an awesome mission. You and I have very similar missions with different ways of accomplishing it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So was there one particular moment where you knew Yeah, this is hard work. 6 years is a lot longer than 6 months. Is there one particular moment when you absolutely knew in your heart that this was the right decision and this is what you were meant to be doing?
Um, I'm not sure if it was one moment, but it was a culmination of a period of time where after my wife had said get in or get out, the next day I ordered my first lighting system, and I still have that. Um, but I moved on to a much the top notch lighting system that I use now. But the old lighting system that I bought then is still in the closet. But I started developing a portfolio of people. I invited people from my church. There were some business people there. I invited them to come by, and I just photographed them to start to kind of learn the craft, learn what I was learning from the early group technically, and started to learn about lighting. And there's a lot of different technical aspects besides lighting, but I started to put it into action, developed a portfolio, and then put it out. And my son-in-law is also a photographer. He's a international award-winning landscape photographer. So he told me, he said the first step you need to do is put up a website. So developed a website, got it going, established some pricing, and got some people in. And people came in and they really liked what I was doing, and they came from further away than I thought they might, all around the DMV area. One of my first clients was from Potomac, Maryland, and I've had them from up Maryland, DC, and Virginia. But they started to come in and they would pay me money to shoot them. And the feedback that I got was, I like this. This is very good. I've never gotten a bad review on Google. Um, and there have been a few hiccups, very few, but I work very hard to um, develop a top-notch client customer service base. And if somebody doesn't like what I've done, or they want something tweaked a little bit, I do my best to do that and make them satisfied. I want them to be 100% satisfied. And that's one of the basic tenets of my business is I want everybody 100% to be totally satisfied with what they get. I want them to be thrilled with what they get. So I put it back to you.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Very, very inspirational. So you've already touched on a couple of points here, but if you were giving advice to someone who is looking at starting something totally different, either pre or post retirement, what key things would you tell them in regard to make sure you do this and make sure you don't do this?
Okay. Um, First of all, I think you need to have either a person or a group around you that can again determine your strengths, your weaknesses, be able to ask you some hard questions even. Um, as an example, I started looking around for a studio, renting a studio. My wife said, "Why don't you just create a studio in our home?" And I did, and that was the best advice I could have ever gotten. I can get so involved in the weeds and planning with my engineering brain, I guess. I try to analyze things and I overanalyze them a lot of the time. And she can come right to the point and say, "Why don't you just do this?" And I'm thinking, duh. It's like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Well, that's why I love you. So, um, but I would have somebody around me, both for that in several different levels. Somebody that knows you well is a good first start, but somebody that knows business and how to pull out your strengths. Somebody like you that would be able to ask the questions to get the person to um, see themselves in this position, or what do I need to improve on in this position? And there's a whole gamut of things that you could delve into, and I know you would be much better at explaining that I got it from, first of all, my wife, and second of all through this worldwide network of top photographers who are willing to share what they had learned, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, and it helps you through things. And today I can go online, post something. I can be done in 1 minute. I can post something and say, I've got this issue. Anybody had an issue, and within a few hours, multiple people would probably respond to that and say, I had a similar incident with a tough client or whatever it is. You go through things like that. And one thing I would say also is, I think most people are afraid of failure, and they're afraid to even start. And I was. Um, I definitely wasn't the exception there. And they need somebody to kind of pull them along and say, you can do this. I'm going to guide you through this. I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to help you through the emotional times. I'm going to help you through trying to guide you through the business aspects, maybe, or whatever it is. There's a lot of different aspects to whatever you're going into. So you need somebody to ask those questions, ask the tough questions, and kind of give you a game plan to, this is what I need to do next to keep things moving. I drag my feet a lot. And again, that's where my wife is helpful. And she's a very good critique after she sits in on the sessions for the females. And we critique just about every session. She says, when you did this, maybe you could do this a little bit better. I look for that, and I'm very helpful for that. And that's something that you can do on your level, Tammy, for people. You may not be able to sit in on what they do all the time, but you can learn about it and be able to help them critique themselves so that they continually improve. And I'm trying to improve with every client that walks through my door, trying to give them a better experience. The technical aspects I've got down pretty well, and I want to make sure that everybody that walks through really enjoys it and we actually have fun in our sessions. People hate getting their picture taken. We actually have fun. You're a testament to that. And they walk out kind of with a spring in their step. And one of the first guys that came in, he wrote me a testimony and said, I feel like $1,000,000. And it's not, so in that regard, it's more how it's making people look, how it's making people think about themselves as much as it is about the image that they're projecting to everybody else. And that's what I like about it. It's a kind of a two-pronged approach, and that's probably even more important. And I've had multiple clients tell me it just made me feel more confident. It made me create a different impression of myself from when I saw it on the picture. And they're able to see genuine expressions, not, can you smile for me, Tammy? That usually doesn't work. That doesn't go well. You can do a little bit of that, but there are techniques that I use that we get the genuine expressions out. People want to see genuineness, no matter whether it's photography, whether it's creating website, whatever you're trying to engage in. People want to know they're dealing with somebody that's genuine, and they're promoting that. And I do that through the visual means. Whatever market somebody is going into, I shoot a lot of IT firms, corporate firms, cybersecurity. I shoot financial wealth management firms. You name it. I've shot a lot of different ones. All of them want to look confident, but they want to be approachable. So it means somebody looks at that person, we say, we want somebody that's viewing it to say, that person looks confident, they know what they're doing, and are they approachable? And in a split second, they see the genuine expression, and they say, yes, she's approachable. I could pick up the phone, talk with her. I would like to meet her. I would like to talk with her. I think she could help me. That's what I'm trying to convey, but it translates over into so many different areas. No matter what you're doing, you need to convey that approachableness, which also translates to friendliness and trustworthiness. And trustworthiness is key. AI cannot do the trustworthiness. If you try to generate a picture from AI, you're not getting the genuine expression. And really, when people learn, oh, you had your picture taken by AI, so that's not a genuine picture. Can they really trust you? So anyway,
Yeah. Exactly. No, you hit on so many key points there. First one, in terms of having the confidence and knowing that you're not afraid of failure. I post a next level nudge in the community every morning, and the one for today is don't be afraid to suck at something. It's like, there are going to be some failures along the way, so you just have to have the
yes.
confidence to do that. And then I think I was just having the same conversation with a woman before you and I got on the call. It's like if we aren't being authentic to ourselves and we aren't truly walking the talk in terms of what we're doing, that lack of genuineness, that lack of credibility is going to reflect, and we are not going to be as effective in whatever we're trying to accomplish if we are not coming from it from a place to the point that we are being true to ourselves and doing what we love to do as you're doing and feeling like you're making a difference. I mean, I feel like, Gary, you not only have a career, you basically had a calling, and your calling was to like help people present the best versions of themselves, and you're doing an exceptional job at that, and have found something that seems to be bringing you true joy as well.
It is. And if I can just read a quote, I was reading a devotional this morning, and my life is centered around Jesus Christ. And we've talked about that before. And that's what um, I was created by him and I was created for him. And this morning in a devotional, I'll read a quote. It's a devotional by my pastor. It says, we're to be aware that the reason I am where I am at this moment, in this business meeting, on this call, whatever it might be, is to glorify God. And that's the basis that I hinge everything on. So whether I make money at it or not, I want to glorify God in whatever I do, and particularly in this endeavor. And he's the one that motivates me. He's the one that guides me. He's the one that kind of led me into this from starting 50 years ago, maybe, where I can impact people's lives when they walk through the door, and help people. But glorifying him is the utmost driver for me. Um, and making money is down on the list, and helping people is up there as well. So that's again my motivator that I wanted to make sure I hit on.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So that would be a great way to close, but I do have one last question, and that is, if your old you in your old career was to say something or have something to say about your new you, or what do you think that person would think about what you're doing today? What would they say?
I thought about this one. This is I'd probably say a couple things. One, you should have done this sooner, and then two is to keep going. You've enjoyed what you've done. You're learning every day. You're learning with every client that comes into the door. Keep improving. Don't just be lax and say, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing now. And that's when I get into trouble and something something rears up and something doesn't go right. Those are the things you need to fight through, and you need to have a support team depending on the severity of what you're going through to help you through those times. Because there were times that I would get a review from Peter Hurley and I would feel like quitting. I'm saying, you don't know anything, Gary. You can't take a picture. You can't even push the button. Um, but and he has a way of being brutally honest because he sets the bar up very high, but he also has a way of being encouraging at the same time. And that's what was helpful for me. And my wife is the same way. She can be brutally honest with me and say, this is what you need. This is what I see and what you're doing. Um, and then, but she can be encouraging at the same time. So you take that. So you're gonna I would say you're almost certainly going to fail from time to time at whatever you're doing. Work through those times, get the support that you need, learn from it. I happened to see a quick Instagram clip from Tom Brady this last week. He's sitting there, I think, with a motivator, and he said, "I would not be sitting here." He said, I wouldn't be sitting here because I won so many games." He said, "I would not be sitting here if I didn't have the losses that I had. If I didn't fail, if we didn't lose at things, if it didn't fail, cause me to be better." That's what I would probably say. And it's painful to go through those failures, but they're temporary. And look at them as an opportunity to get better. What can I learn? Because nobody goes through whatever they're going through, even the top dogs. They don't get to where they are by having every single thing go right. They learn from their mistakes. And I'd say that's an important part of the journey, but don't be afraid of it, particularly if you have that support group that say, you can go to them, go to a Tammy and say, "This is what happened. What can I?" You're crying and you're crying there, so to, at least emotionally, and they're able to pick you up and say, "Okay, well, what can we learn from this?" And it brings a perspective that I think will be tremendously helpful for people. And sometimes you can't see all of that on your own. You need that help. You need that support team. So I have.
Thank you, Gary. That's what a great way to end. Appreciate you joining me again today. And for those of you that are watching, if you are on the crossroads of your reinvention journey and you're trying to decide if it's time to do something totally different, whether that's pre or post retirement, take Gary's advice. Don't wait. Get started. Hopefully, his story has been an inspiration to you in terms of what's possible as your next level me. And I hope you're there to find it. See you on the bold path.